Aston Martin stands on the brink of losing its position in the Constructors' Championship, and that is because of one individual, Lance Stroll. In Qatar over the weekend, we witnessed another disheartening performance by Aston Martin's second driver. He finished a disappointing P17 in the main race, shortly after making headlines for his unsportsmanlike conduct during qualifying. Lance Stroll, who also happens to be the son of the team's owner, Lance Stroll, has become a thorn in Aston Martin's side, raising concerns about the team's future. So the pressing question is, should Aston Martin part ways with Lance in pursuit of success at the highest level of Formula One? The inside story of Aston Martin's recent problems and explores potential solutions. And spoiler alert, the answer doesn't involve axing Lance. Before we get into it, kindly like and subscribe to the channel, and without ado, let's get started. Lance Stroll's recent performances have raised eyebrows for all the wrong reasons. He has endured a tough season with several lackluster results that have hampered the team's progress. The incident in Qatar where he shoved his trainer in the garage after a disappointing qualifying race was one of many low points this season. However, Lance's frustration is somewhat justified. Stroll's 2023 season has been disappointing. He is 10th in the driver's standings with a total of 47 points, a single point ahead of Pierre Gasly from Alpine, and 3 points ahead of the team's second driver, Esteban Ocon. In stark contrast, Lance's teammate Fernando Alonso has been a standout performer this season, occupying the 4th position in the driver's standings with 183 points, and boasting 7 podium finishes. The performance gap is glaring, especially considering Aston Martin's status as a top-tier team this year. Lance's outbursts in Qatar were a manifestation of his mounting frustrations. Lance started the season in quite promising form, with a 6th place finish in the Bahrain Grand Prix just 15 days after a terrible accident during the pre-season. He also recorded a 4th place finish in the Australian Grand Prix, starting the season in such an incredible manner despite the injury setback before the season began. Lance raised high hopes of better performances and expected podium finishes as the season progressed. Unfortunately, the contrary was the case. Stroll positions dropped, finishing most races without a single point. The Canadian driver's crash in the Singapore GP qualifying was so severe that he was unable to participate in the race. Another major moment of his season was, of course, Qatar, where he stole the spotlight when he pushed his trainer in the garage after his frustration boiled over when he was eliminated in Q1. Stroll made matters worse when he conducted this interview. These are troubling times for Aston Martin, who face a huge threat in the form of McLaren. Can Aston Martin withstand McLaren till the end of the season? This has been the question on every F1 fan's mind since that horrible performance in qualifying by Lance Stroll in Singapore. With the points gap between Aston Martin and McLaren getting lower after every race weekend, many have favoured Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri to take McLaren past Aston Martin in the constructor standings to finish P4 come the end of the season. Aston Martin is currently sitting in P4 in the championship, 11 points ahead of McLaren. With just 5 races left, it seems like an impossible task for the team to maintain that position, considering its recent form. The team has been struggling as the season has progressed. They rely solely on the points of the champion, Fernando Alonso, who has been their major success story this season. However, it's more likely attributed to Alonso's skill rather than Aston Martin's overall performance. As seen in recent races, the team hasn't consistently competed at the top level. From Monza to Singapore to Japan and Qatar, Aston Martin's performance has failed to live up to expectations. Therefore, the daring question has to be asked: why the decline? The exact reasons behind Aston Martin's fall are hard to pinpoint. Some theories suggest that the changes in wing regulations might have affected the team. Others believe the issues arose from the tyre construction changes, while there are also speculations of Lance wanting to quit the sport altogether. Nevertheless, the simplest explanation is that Aston Martin hasn't been able to develop its cars effectively compared to its competitors. As admitted by the team boss, Mike Crack, their upgrades didn't yield the expected results. Fernando Alonso also highlighted the team's need for growth and improvement. A more optimistic view of Aston Martin's season is that it might be transitioning. The team recently moved into a new factory and has plans for a new wind tunnel. They've also recruited technical experts from other teams. These new changes could take time to fully integrate and produce positive results. Therefore, the team needs all hands on deck to see them through to the finish line. Those who suggest getting rid of Lance Stroll as a way out are wrong. Removing the driver right now might cause more harm than good, and he's the owner's son. He's not going anywhere. Considering Aston Martin's potential this season, their recent performance in Qatar was a letdown. They're heading in a downward direction. Losing momentum is a concern, and reversing this trend is important. important. They need Lance to sit up and drive like a professional and deliver consistent points. Speaking about the team's problems, Mike Crack doesn't blame mid-season wing directives for Aston Martin's struggles. He believes the team's upgrades have fallen short of expectations, while other teams have caught up. Talking about catching up, rivals McLaren are on the rise, closing the points gap to just 11 after their double podium finish in Qatar. The team's resurgence started in Austria with a new technical structure, followed by upgrades in Singapore. They've earned 5 podiums in the last 3 races and a total of 172 points in the last 8 races. McLaren is in a favourable position to finish P4 with 2 strong drivers, while Aston Martin relies heavily on Fernando Alonso. The upgrades to the McLaren cars have proven to be effective and efficient. With 5 races left, you can bet that they will surpass Aston Martin. Despite their end-of-year struggles, Aston Martin finishing in the top 5 with 7 podiums in 2023 still might be considered a successful year. However, Aston Martin are still in the lead. They have 5 races to hold on to their spot against the odds. Although Alonso has proven to be the go-to man for the team, he has failed to beat any McLaren car since McLaren's upgrade in Singapore. For the team to have any chance of holding on, he will have to get back to finishing ahead of both cars and maybe aiming for more podiums. Lance Stroll, on the other hand, can also aid his team in securing the top 4, if only he can fuel that anger in him on the grid and not on his trainer. He said, "Keep driving. Let's hope he keeps driving past McLaren cars and not crashing into advertising boards." Now all the focus is shifting to the inaugural race in Las Vegas, the Formula One Lenovo United States Grand Prix. Can Aston Martin make a change for the better, or will they be defeated yet again by the in-form McLaren? Share your thoughts in the comments section below, and also don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the latest F1 news. Until next time, goodbye.